Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Hager number 2-679-0630 aluminum delayed egress wall mount controller. This video will serve as an overview of what the delayed egress controller will do, what it will work with, what its basic features are, and obviously serve as a visual evidence, will serve as visual evidence of the item. The camera's in focus, so you might pause the video at this time to study that. Okay, so below this video is information in the extended description of this product. For this product, this is a 15 or 30 second delay egress controller. 15 second is generally common. 30 second is uncommon, sometimes approved by the AHJ. And I don't know if the code specifically states that 30 second is only permissible with authority having jurisdiction approval, but that's what I think my understanding is. 15 second is standard. Typically used on exit doors when unauthorized egress is initiated when the door is in the locked mode. The person exiting must wait the specified 15 or 30 seconds. 30 seconds were available. The door unlocks after that time, permitting egress. Your applications are going to be airport, public facility security, safety. Safety would be a nursing home or an institution where you need to be able to control who's exiting so that staff can get to the opening to mitigate any potential problem. Obviously, loss prevention. You're going to have with this controller an audible. You'll have an enunciator. The enunciator is down in here. You're going to be able to have a male or a female voice giving further instruction at the opening. It restricts the egress of patients for safety, as said earlier, requires a mortise cylinder, 3902, which is sold separately, and for a pair of doors you must order 2 delayed egress devices and 1 controller. We'll handle that. Features a 15 or 30 second delay egress and also incorporates a 1 or 2 second nuisance delay. If somebody just touches the bar, the exit device quickly, you don't want to set that irrevocable procedure of setting it into the delayed egress countdown. That nuisance delay allows you to do that. You have to hold the device down beyond the nuisance delay in order to get it to start the countdown. Built-in function keypad provides alarm and lock reset, 1 to 30 second bypass, sustained bypass, and you can also fire up a key switch, an additional key switch. Control inputs include 1 to 30 second request to exit and access bypass with anti-tailgate and alarm rest. Field selectable, automatic, or manual power-up after emergency release or loss of power. Auto sensing 12 or 24 volt. Reset input is normally open dry contact. The request to exit input is normally open dry contact. Built-in enunciation, armed mode, nuisance mode, release mode, irreversible egress mode, digital countdown display. Field selectable voice, notification, or tone. Field selectable male voice with security message or female voice with safety message. And features a variety of code compliant listings. FC International, IBC, NFPA 101, the life safety code, NFPA 1, the uniform fire code, and the California building code. Monitoring outputs are listed there as well. You have some options in terms of how you're going to install it. It's going to come with a plate. We'll get to that. You can have normally closed or normally open dry contacts as the trigger points, and has some dimensions of its dimensions. 6.5, closer to about 6 3/8. 4.5, right on. And then they have it at 1.5 inches. kind of gauge that on the camera there. And overall, it's going to be closer to about 2 inch. Okay, now, it will, of course, include installation instructions. Those are listed down below this video, called Installation Guide. Before we get to that, let's get to the product catalog. The product catalog is an overview of electrified products from Hager. You will find in that document, if you were to search the term controller, you'll find where this delayed egress Walmart controller comes in. Used in conjunction with their 4500 series delayed egress panic and fire exit devices, which are available in the rim and surface vertical rod configurations. It does incorporate all the delayed egress logic for 15 or 30 second exit delay, alternating 85 decibel tone and voice message with a digital countdown display that provides clear and comprehensive instructions for persons without prior knowledge of door operation and personnel notification. A keypad provides reset and bypass control, eliminating the need of keys that may be misplaced or lost. The application: when unauthorized egress is initiated, the Hager 4501 delayed egress delays egress through the door for 15 or 30 seconds. Meanwhile, the person exiting must wait while personnel or security responds. The door will unlock after 15 or 30 seconds, having elapsed, then permitting egress. When powered by a fire control supervised power supply, the lock will, of course, release immediately in an emergency. So if it's tied back to the fire alarm panel and that switch tells it to release, of course it will. Applications, again, include those mentioned earlier. And the rest of the information that's there is a repeat of what we've already gone over. You do need to use the 2908 Hager power supply for this, so be mindful of that. Now, the installation instructions, let's take a look at those. Page 1 is a review of what we've already gone over. Page 2 shows you that you are going to use the 3902 mortise cylinder. That's sold separately, and you will need to purchase that or supply a mortise cylinder. They're not real clear in terms of how the installation of that mortise cylinder goes. I'm going to state that you will need both a mortise cylinder and a cash nut box or a threaded ring to get that installed after removing the circuit board on the back. A couple of micro switches here will allow you to turn that standard tailpiece in order to put it into the mode that you intend to put it into. Let's see if we can find more information about that. Well, you know the old saying, if you're confused, maybe stop and read the installation instructions first, which I did, but I missed it. The key cylinder is to, you don't have to remove anything, which obviously seemed wrong. There's a typical set screw down here in the base. You'll loosen that. You'll insert your 1 1/8 or 1 1/4, whatever size really, but 1 1/8 would be the shortest that you would need. Then you'll tighten that set screw there, and a standard cam will communicate with those 2 micro switches in the back of the unit. Now, this is going to include a mounting plate that you can use to get installed onto a 6-gang box. However, you don't really even require that. Let's take a closer look and see. So you can mount this into a typical, when I said 6-gang, I mean 3-gang, forgive me, a 3-gang box. Now, looking at the installation instructions a bit closer on the method of mounting, you can do a recessed drywall mount, and that wall plate is actually included with the kit. You'll have a couple of flanges there that you can use to install it down to a wall. Obviously, get that installed down to the wall. You'll be able to clip over the drywall with these flanges. Then, of course, your unit is going to screw down through those holes. Oh, got it upside down. Or you can get that 3-gang box if you're doing a recessed mount into an existing box. Surface mount 3-gang box over an existing 2-gang box, sure, you could do that as well. However, you're going to end up installing it. That's what you'll end up doing. You might need a 3-gang box. Now, the recommended mounting procedure is listed on the 4th page, or page 3 of 7 of the document. Now, the basic wiring of this is shown on the bottom of that same page, and you're going to, of course, the installation instructions are showing it in this orientation, where you're going to have your power here, positive and negative. The next 2 terminals are going to go back to the exit device, and then the exit device are going to go over to the trigger over here, common and normally open. Okay. As you go through the next page, you're going to see a variety of, you'll see other wiring options. Not too complicated, though. That first page really just shows, the first unit shows you how to install a door position switch, which you will need to do anti-tailgate or door prop functionality over the unit. The dip switches there are very important. Backing up, for a pair of doors, you've got wiring instructions that are there as well. It's not difficult at all. You're basically just duplicating the procedure by coming off of the leg of one device for the other. Your dip switch settings, even with glasses that's hard to see, are here. Those are going to be identified on your dip switch settings for your delay time, your nuisance delay, your request to exit period. Request to exit is if you were to hit the bar and you want to have a request to exit period to start that countdown. That would be, if you had a device with a request to exit functionality, you'd be able to use this controller. Your trigger type, normally open or normally closed. That makes sense. Power up state, what's going to happen to the unit if there's a loss of power. Will it be unlocked or locked? Alarm type is tone only or voice and tone. That will alternate, as we said earlier. And then you can have a male or female voice on jumper 8, which is here. Jumper 8's on this far side. There we go. Optional features: a REX terminal, an external request to exit. That could be a wall switch, I suppose, on the a switch on the door as well. An external reset, lock and unlock monitoring. That might be appropriate if you want to be able to audit trail that. And alarm monitoring as well. System operation is listed on the following page. I'm not going to just read that to you. No reason to go into that. That can be reviewed. The master code is listed there as 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the final page gives you a little worksheet of where to fill some information in. Delayed egress is very common in nursing homes. It's incredibly common in airport terminals, and you'll certainly see those pretty much every time you go into an airport. Okay. Now, the interesting thing about Hager, and before we go back to the electrified products catalog, there is a cut sheet that's there, or a data sheet that will just give you an overview. But that product catalog is handy because it will allow you to review all of the electrified products from Hager, whether it be electric strikes or request to exit switches or keypads or wall switches, magnetic locks they get into as well. They'll be able to help you with different applications of magnetic locks, like shear locks. Power transfer capabilities, like you'd be able to transfer power from the from the frame to the door. request to exit devices that don't have any latches. They're just request to exit devices that you might use to shunt a connection to a magnetic lock. You might have a sensor up there as well, which could be very common. You see those. They do have integrated delayed egress magnetic locks, which are really common in nursing homes. The wall controllers there, the power supply naturally. You'll want to use, not only do they say that you must use their power supply, but word to the wise when it comes to electrified products. I have seen in the past situations where a manufacturer may deny a warranty claim if you've used a power supply not theirs. So be mindful of that. I don't know that I would necessarily look to use different items in a scenario where you need to be able to manage the product long term, meaning have recourse to the factory with a warranty. So I would use all the same manufacturer's approved and tested material. And that 2908 is near the end of the product catalog as the power supply that will give you the ability to power your device, your wall controller, do so in a battery backup situation as well. A lot of people are quite loyal to Hager, fiercely loyal, in fact, and that is, admittedly, in my experience, more so the public or the end users of Hager products than it is necessarily their distributors. Their distributors obviously love them for the reasons that, of course, a distributor would, meaning Hager does a great job at what they do, but really an advantage of Hager products to a distributor is the fact that you can toss lots of different items onto a single purchase order, whether it be hinges or door closers or lock sets or exit devices, weather stripping, electrified hardware. You have a single source for all of that material. My personal experience with Hager is that, well, it goes over decades, in fact, and I am always reminded every time I speak to Hager and their rep and their technical service department that they are forever evolving their product line. Hager, when I first started working with them almost 30 years ago, it was hinges, okay? And then it was Roton, and then it got into a lot of other stuff. It was weather stripping back then too, but then it got into a lot of other stuff. The name Hager is actually quite synonymous with everything for the door opening, with the exception of the door and frame itself. And Hager wants to be a large player in the industry, and I say good for them and go for it. They have a loyal client base, and they, at the end of the day, are a company that ultimately get the job done, and that's the bottom line. If you have any questions on the Hager number 2-679-0630 wall mount delayed egress controller or any other Hager product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.